Before we get started today, just a quick reminder, we are in the middle of a subscription drive, trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And I know it's possible because every day is just growing and growing, and we're building such a great community here. I'd like you to join us if you haven't already. So if you haven't done so, please hit that subscribe button. If you like the content, also hit that like button as well. It really helps things out here on this channel to help it grow. And on to today's topic. Well, like I said, I don't know if I said, but this is what happens when you're doing them back to back. You're talking about things that you guys have no idea, because I actually haven't. Anyway, what I'm doing today is I'm doing a demo of the Joyo Clean Glass in the Moor Shimver. I'm filming a demonstration of how they sound, so that'll be the next video after this one. Beautiful Fender blackface sound I'm getting out of this, so I thought I would share that with you. But in the middle of doing this, I was texting with a friend of mine, just a regular guy, he's in advertising, and he's interested in getting a guitar, and he was looking on eBay, and he was saying, well, what about these Chibsons? And I was like, oh boy, okay, where to start with this? So actually today, for his benefit and for anybody else, I see that there's a lot of young folks that watch this channel getting started in this world of music, and so let me give you a perspective too on it that I think may help young and old. My take on Chibsons, because interestingly enough, after living in Asia for as many years as I did, over almost 3 decades, I really came to a sense that, you don't see a lot of Chibsons. You just don't. If you go into, and if you look back on my channel, you see I've been through Vietnam, I've been through Cambodia, I've been through Laos, I've been through, we went to everywhere when we were in Asia, in Singapore, Thailand. So, I never saw a Chibson. So I'm going to throw that one out there just so you guys can chew on that for a minute. I never saw one. I never saw any counterfeits either that were for sale in any of the shops and stores that I went to, and I went to, literally dozens, if not hundreds, so in the years that I was there. So the Chibson thing really wasn't something that was on my radar, until I started hearing about them in internet forums and looking into them. And so then starting to slowly, I think maybe it was an issue of just time. So I guess around 2014, 15, 16, then I started hearing about them more from, different sites. I started to climb up the amount of relevance that they had. Still none that I saw in Asia. They were exporting those bad boys only. They really were. Even in the smaller shops that I went to that were not, big mall type shops, those guys were making their own instruments. There's one shop I went to in Vietnam where I bought a mandolin. That guy makes his own guitars. He's a luthier. So yeah, it's not such a big deal. And so that's the truth of it. This is an issue that I'm only hearing discussed in the West. United States, UK, Eurozone, etc. It's not a black and white issue with me. I feel that, let's just be real about it. There's some people who are fortunate on this planet. I am one of them to be able to even have something like this Epiphone. even this Epiphone represents an expense to a great majority of this planet. Okay? And so, a Gibson at almost 3 times its cost is just, it's something that we call a marketing aspirational. Okay? So, human nature being what it is, if I'm a kid in the Philippines, a place that I've donated guitars to for this very reason, so they can have quality instruments, and that $200 option of a Chipson comes up, hey, it's because Les Paul on the top, Gibson, it looks like a Gibson, it's aspirational. That's a part of it that you guys have to understand. When somebody tells you that this is taking money out of the, because of copyright infringements, yes, those issues are true, but it's not taking money out of the mouths of Gibson employees in this case, because that kid or that girl, boy, whatever, would have never been able to purchase a Gibson anyway. And when they go on stage and they play that, and other kids in the audience, they're not going to know whether it is or not. It's going to be an aspirational thing, which for the very few select that are able down the line to be able to purchase a Gibson, who knows, it was a Chipson that inspired them to make that purchase. So, that's just the reality, man. You can't even fight that. I mean, I can put that in the Western world and say, excuse me, but wasn't Slash's guitar not a Gibson? Wasn't it a copy? Wasn't it technically a counterfeit because it said Les Paul and Gibson on the headstock? And yet, so don't let people put these black and white issues on Chipsons on your shoulders is what I'm saying. It's just not that clean cut. Now, do I think you should purchase a Chipson? No, I don't, because the reality is that, if you buy it and you're planning on doing some mods out of it, you probably get away with that. If you buy it and it works out for you, you probably get away with that. But there are other options too that you can get. There's Firefly, Harley Benton, for a little bit more money. You're still in that $200 to $300 range. So, that's just the reality of it. There are better options out there, but if that is the way that you're going to go for that aspirational part of it, which is why I think aspirational, the force is really strong with that concept. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people balk at my statements regarding Gibsons and Epiphones, because they're looking at what's on that headstock and they're not hearing with their ears. So that is the truth of it. That's my short, really take on the Chipson thing. The reality is that cats are going to buy those because that's what they can afford. And they're never going to be able to do better than that in some cases. But they're going to make those do what they're going to do. Eddie Van Halen was not a rich person. They were living in a very small house in Silver Lake, man. As I seen in Pasadena, they've been living in a small place anyway, and he had to, build his guitar to get what he wanted. Poverty brings out a lot of wonderful music, man, because people are worried about whether it's a long neck tenant, whether what the pickups are. They're trying to make what they have work. So Chipsons are a gray area is what it comes down to, is what I'm trying to say. So it's not black and white at all. So, and there's folks that have ordered Chipsons that love them, and so that's all good on them. They saved themselves some money and they got what they needed to do what they had to do at a price level that they could afford. So, let's just, step back, take a look at that reality about, economics of individuals before we start getting into these black and white arguments about Chipsons. No, I don't think that you should take them into a store and try to pass it off as a real Gibson. I went to a store in Los Angeles that I bought a Gibson from, a very old 90s Les Paul classic, And the guy, the owner of the shop, which was his Gibson dealership, he had a counterfeit Gibson. He told me it was a counterfeit on the wall and offered it to me for $3,000 because it, I guess because he thought I was going to get that vibe that it was going to be another Daring type thing like Slash's guitar. But I was like, yo, man, that's not cool. That was my thought. I kept my mouth, made my purchase, and left. But yeah, you shouldn't be doing that on any level. So that's a no-go. That part of it's not a gray area. You do not try to sell or pass anything on to somebody else and lie to them about what it is. It's not cool. But if you're not going to do that, and it's just an issue of you keeping it at home and practicing it, playing with it, taking it to your first gigs, learning how to make it work, writing that hit record so that you can go off and buy a whole bunch of gear and then realize that Chipson was the one that you loved the whole long time, the whole while. Anyway, so that's my point for today. Enough of this ramble. If you like the content, again, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll talk to you next show. Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, I did make I forgot to say, I did make a choice as far as the Harley Benton concerned, and I went with the TE80. Yeah, man, I can't wait to get that and run it through this fender clean thing that I've got going here, so you can look forward to that too. They said, however, that it's back ordered. So it probably is not going to arrive until around the 25th or so, they're saying, of this month. So we shall see if they honor that date. And when it comes, I'll open it right here with you and share that experience. Okay, guys, to the next show. You take care. Bye-bye.